Good morning, students. Welcome to the live lecture of functional analysis. In the last lecture, we have seen a corollary which is depending upon the theorem of integration of addition of two functions is equals to addition of respective integrations. And the corollary we have seen is so what a statement we have proved in the previous one lecture. And depending on this, we have proved a corollary that whenever we have two integrable functions f1 and f2, then for any two constants c1, c2, the linear combination of the functions, that is c1f1 plus c2f2, is integrable on the respective domain, and integration c1f1 plus c2f2 is c1 into integration f1 plus c2 into integration f2. In detail proof we have seen. Okay. The next theorem we have proved in this is a function, if it is bounded and integrable given on the intervals AC, CB and AB, then we have proved that integration from A to B is equal to integration A to C plus C to B. Correct now? One more theorem we have completed is every continuous function is integrable. Actually, these theorems helps us in a very large manner, because without knowing the function, if I know only it is a function, continuous function, I can say it is integrable. But the question arises, what happens about discontinuous function? Here the statement says that every continuous function is integrable. Therefore, can you say that every function which is not continuous is not integrable? So can we judge like this? Yes?
No, ma'am.
No, we cannot say like this. Therefore, now in today's lecture, we will say what happens about the discontinuous function. One more point is, we will see what about the integrability of a monotonic function. Therefore, first we will see what is the integrability of monotonic function, or rather we were going to prove that every monotonic function is integrable. Yesterday I told you to recall the definition of monotonic function. Yes, can anyone tell me what is monotonic function? If a function f is monotonic on closed interval AB, then prove that it is integrable on closed interval AB. Yes, what is monotonic function? Any idea about monotonic function? Have you heard this word at least? Yes? Have you heard this word or not? Monotonic increasing, monotonic decreasing.
Yes, ma'am.
Try to answer now. Hmm? What is monotonically increasing? What is the difference between monotonically increasing and increasing? Yes? Or are they same? Monotonic increasing and increasing. Rather, we were using a word strictly increasing function, no? Correct? फक्त यस म्हणताय, पुढे काही सांगत नाही बाबा तुम्ही लोक. हा, झालेलं आहे आपल्याला हे सगळं. आणि काल सांगितलं होतं मी रिकॉल करायला. 35 स्टुडंट्स आहेत स्क्रीनवर. काय मोनोटोनिक फंक्शन? मोनोटोनिक इन्क्रीजिंग सांगा. नाही माहिती कोणाला? थांबायचं का आपण मग इथे? वाचून घ्या तुम्ही, मग आपण पुढच्या लेक्चरला बघूया. दिलेल्या गोष्टी सांगितलेला रिकॉल करायला किती वेळ लागतो आपल्याला? मोनोटोनिक फंक्शन मोबाईलवर सर्च केला तरी तुम्हाला आन्सर कळून जातो ना लगेचच, हो की नाही? येस.
A function between ordered sets that the preserve the given order.
Yes, it preserves the given order. Very good. Why you are taking so much time to tell me that, Anjali? Okay. Yes, it is going to preserve the order. Whatever is it is order given, the order is being preserved. For example, suppose the order in the domain of the function is given of this type. Say these are few points, x naught less equal by x1 less equal by x2. This is ordered na between the points of the given domain, say. Okay. Then if this order is preserved, if the same order is preserved, then which type of function it is? Suppose the function f preserves the order of this type. Fx naught less equal by fx1 less equal by fx2. Okay, less equal by f of xn. What does it mean? If the values of the variables x are going on increasing, corresponding function values are also increasing. What kind of function it is then? Yes? See, let me plot the points here. Say x naught, x1, x2, so on up to xn. Okay, now look at this. Again, the function values are going to increase in the same order. Therefore, may I draw the curve like this? Now, what are the points you can check? Fx naught, fx1, fx2, fxn. Correct now? The function values are also increasing. What kind of function this is then? What kind of function it is? Monotonically increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Yes, it is monotonically increasing. And if the order is preserved in the reverse manner, that is, wherever we have this less equal, if it is greater equal type, then what will happen? Let us draw a sketch. Okay, what the sketch tells us? See, these are my points x naught, x1, x2, so on up to xn. That is, the values of the variables are increasing, and accordingly, if we look at this inequality, fx naught is greater equal by fx1, fx1 greater equal by fx2. Right now, means which is my maximum value in this discussion? F of x naught will be the maximum value. So, what kind of curve I have to draw? Is it of this type? Okay, therefore this is the point fx naught, this is fx1, this is fx2 and so on fx1. Therefore values of the functions are decreasing. Therefore what kind of function it is?
Monotonic decreasing.
Conical decrease.
Yes, monotonically decreasing. Now, why the word monotonically used is the question only. Na? One can say simply it is increasing or simply decreasing also. The word monotonic tells us that here the inequality, whatever we have written, is of less or equal type. That is, for some of the function values, the values may be equal. Okay. That is, let me draw one more sketch to understand this in detail. Okay, see these are some points I have. X naught, x1 up to xn. And suppose the nature of my function is initially increasing, then constant, and then it is again increasing. What is the meaning? X naught to x1 the value increases. Okay. And somewhere here if I plot the point xn minus 1. What is the meaning actually for this region from x naught to xn minus 1? What is your function value? It remains the same, and then again it is increasing. Here this less equal inequality ensures that for some points the function value may remains the same, and for some point it may increase. That's why the word is monotonically increasing. And if I replace this inequality less equal by strictly less, then what kind of function it will be? This is strictly increasing. Okay, understood the difference between strictly increasing and monotonically increasing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now here we were going for monotonic function. Therefore, let me start with either monotonic increasing or monotonic decreasing. Okay, may I say this will be an example of strictly increasing, na? Because each and every function value gets increased. But if some of the values are same, then it is monotonically increasing, right? Okay,
Yes,
understood.
ma'am.
Actually, the word
Yes, ma'am.
itself tells you the meaning. What we were doing, we were not focusing on the words. Linear times, the definition itself tells us the meaning. 90% meaning was clear from the definition itself, name of the definition. Okay? Okay. Now let us continue the proof of this theorem. For the sake of convenience, let me start with the function to be monotonically increasing function. Okay. Therefore, here I will write, we shall prove the theorem for f is monotonic increasing function. Or f is monotonically increasing. Okay. Now, can you tell me the nature of the function if it is monotonically increasing, whether it is bounded or not? Yes.
Yes,
Whether the
bound.
function, yes, it is bounded. Very good. Can you answer me why? What are the bounds of the function by looking at the statement we have written?
A and close bracket A and B.
No. Bounds of the function I am asking. If it is monotonically increasing function, may I say this will be the lower bound and this will be the upper bound. All the values will lie between these two, no? Fx0 and fxn. And though it is monotonically decreasing, may I say, again it is bounded, monotonically decreasing, only the bounds will change. Upper bound becomes lower bound becomes the upper bound. Correct, no? Therefore, here I can claim that f is bounded. Now, what we will do, we will write the definition of monotonically increasing. Now, for the points of closed interval AB, okay, what kind of points I am taking? Here, let me write on the next page. X0 less equal by x1 less equal by xn and so on up to less equal by xn. Okay, what it is going to imply? Fx0 less equal by fx1 less equal by fx2 and just continue up to less equal by fxn. Let me call it as statement number 1. Okay, and what about those points xi? Xi belongs to the closed interval AB for I equals to 1 to n. Is it okay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now what we will do? We will try to understand what are the bounds, as if I told you directly. Okay. Since f is monotonically increasing, what will be the suprema infima of the function? Monotonic increasing. What about capital Mi and small mi? What this Mi stands for? Mi stands for the suprema of the function in ith subinterval, no? Okay. Suppose somewhere here we have this ith subinterval. Say xi minus 1 to xi. Then what will be the corresponding points? Like this, no? F of xi minus 1. No? This is f of xi and this is f of xi minus 1. Now look at this and tell me what will be the suprema, what will be the infima. Infima काय असेल, suprema काय असेल याच्यात?
F of xi suprema.
Very good. F of xi will be suprema. Shall I write f of xi here? And what about infima?
F of xi minus 1.
Xi minus 1. Okay. Now what is the job to show that? What is the claim to prove that f is integrable on closed interval AB? Okay. That is what we were interested in showing. UPF minus LPF is less than by epsilon. Condition of integrability one has to consider. Okay. Therefore, what I will do, I will write for the partitions norm P, for the partitions with norm P less than delta, we have to consider. For the partitions, for partition P of closed interval AB with norm or with norm P less than delta, consider. What to consider? UPF minus LPF. Correct, no? What the definition tells us? May I write directly capital Mi minus small mi delta xi. Okay, but the values of capital Mi and small mi just now we have calculated, knowing the monotonic increasing nature. Therefore, is it f of xi minus f of xi minus 1 into delta xi? Is it okay? But what we have delta xi, can I write less equal by norm p? Here the simple change we will do. Norm, instead of considering norm p less than delta, I will try to write norm p less than eta, because delta I have to use somewhere else. Norm p less than eta. Okay, no doubt eta positive. Okay. What is the relation between delta x and norm p? This we know, na? Every delta xi is less equal by norm p, because norm p is the length of largest or subinterval. But what we have selected norm p to be less than eta. Correct, no? Norm p we have selected less than eta. Therefore, can I write this above statement as UPF minus LPF strictly less by summation I equals to 1 to n f of xi minus f of xi minus 1 into eta. Is it okay? Delta xi I have substituted less than by eta. Eta is independent of I. Eta is independent of I. Let me take it outside the summation. So V remains with this term. Now what one has to do? One has to just expand this sum over I. Okay? What will be the expansion? Let me write from this point. Eta times. What is the value for I equals to 1?
F1 minus F0.
Yes, f of x1 minus f of x0 added
0.
with. Next, y equals to 2. F of x2 minus f of x1, and just
X1.
continue. Continue for the last one. For I equals to n. Is it f of xn minus f of xn minus 1? Okay. Now check which terms cancels one another. This cancels with this. May I say f of x2 will cancel with the next one, because next term will be f of x3 minus f of x2. Similarly, this f of xn minus 1 will cancel with its previous. For cancelling all such a terms, how many terms remains with us? Can anyone tell me?
F of xn minus f of x0.
Very good. F of xn minus f of x0. This and this term remains. All the rest terms cancels with one another. Okay. But what is f of xn? Is it f of b? And f of x0 is f of a. Correct?
Yes,
And
sir.
what is the aim to show? This is less than by epsilon. This is less than by epsilon. Therefore, how I am going to select the value of eta? Selection of eta is in our hand, no? For every epsilon, choose the number eta such that this product will be less than epsilon. Correct, no? See, I am going to select for every epsilon greater than 0, select eta greater than 0 such that, what such that? Eta times fb minus fa less than epsilon. But if I write like this directly, eta will be less than epsilon upon fb minus fa. Correct, no? But whether this fb minus fa is allowed to add. Why? Because of this condition of monotonically increasing function. F of x0 less equal by f of x1 continue up to less equal. Means a constant function is also a monotonically increasing function where both the values can be same. First value is equal to the last one. Correct, no? Whether constant
Yes,
function is monotonically increasing or not. Suppose I have written this constant function. It satisfies less or equal, we were saying, no? Here it satisfies equality. All the function values are equal. Therefore, in some cases, for the example of this constant function, the two values may coincide. This is my f of a and this is f of b. Correct, no? If these two values coincide, what will be the value of your denominator?
0.
Yes, it is 0. And whether 0 in the denominator is allowed? Yes, whether 0 in the denominator is allowed?
No.
No. For this, what we were doing, we were just making a small change. We will just add +1 here and check what is the effect. Let me explain you. For every epsilon greater than 0, choose eta greater than 0 such that. What such that I am selecting? Eta less than by epsilon upon E of b minus E of a. If we write this, a possibility of denominator to be 0 is there. Therefore, I will just add a number +1 here. Okay. Now, if I add a +1 here, whether our inequality satisfies or not, above equation becomes. What about the above equation? UPF minus LPF. Let me substitute the value of epsilon eta as less than by f epsilon upon fb minus fa plus 1 into fb minus fa. Is it okay? Whether this combined term combine the less than epsilon or not? What kind of fraction will be constructed here? Whether the fraction is greater than 1 or less than 1. Whatever is the numerator.
Less than 1.
Yes, it is less than 1. Suppose this value of fb minus fa is 3 and in the denominator we were adding 1. Therefore, the total fraction becomes 3 by 4. Therefore, this is surely less than by 1, no? Whatever is this fraction, we were writing fb minus fa upon fb minus fa plus 1. May I say it is less than by 1? Okay. If it is less than by 1, may I write this term is less than by epsilon? Okay, understood why we have added +1 in the denominator?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it essential to add +1? Can we add +2 also? +2 करू शकतो का? Yes. +2 केलं तर काय होईल? This is what the way you have to think, na? +1 they have added. Why? We know the reason now. Why that number 1 is added? Just to ensure that denominator should not take a 0 value. Okay. But is it possible to add +2, +3 or any positive integer? Is it okay? No. Why? Yes, why? Can you please tell me? Whether by adding +2, we have to check simply whether this fraction value is less than 2 or less than 1 or not. Suppose let me add 2. Okay. fb minus fa upon fb minus fa plus 2. The question is whether it is less than by 1 or not. If it is less than by 1, then it is okay. Right now, similarly, let us take the above example. If the numerator value is 3, denominator will be 3 plus 2, whether it is less than by 1 or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. But is it possible to add +2? Yes. Any positive integer, positive, not necessarily integer, any positive real number you can add. Correct, no? What happens if I add 0.1? 0.1. Whether the ratio is still less than by 1 or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, try to understand the logic behind this. Okay, it is not compulsory to by heart. पाठांतर करायचं नाहीये आपल्याला. तो कॉन्सेप्ट का डिफाईन केला हे लक्षात आलं पाहिजे. त्यामुळे if I add any positive real number in the denominator, the ratio will be still less than 1. And we want combined less than epsilon. That's why one can add any positive real number, not necessarily 1. 1 is added here just to prove the result. Okay? I
Yes, ma'am.
hope you are getting it. Okay. This is what for monotonic function. Therefore, we have proved that monotonic function is integrable. Whatever the process we have done for monotonically increasing function, may I say the same will be true for monotonically decreasing? Only change will be writing these values capital Mi and small mi, right now? What will be capital Mi if the function is monotonically decreasing? Exactly reverse
f
has
of
to be.
xi minus 1.
Of xi minus 1.
Very good. F of xi minus 1 will be the suprema. And infima will be?
F of x.
Of xi.
F of xi.
Okay. So we were not writing the proof of this monotonic decreasing. Right? Let us go to the next theorem. In the next theorem, we were going to show that a discontinuous function is also integrable. But the condition is it should have finite points of discontinuities. So that a bounded function, we are having a finite number of points. Finite number of points of discontinuity on closed interval AB. Okay, is integrable on closed interval AB. Okay. Previously we have proved continuous is integrable. Now we were proving discontinuous, but the condition is it should have finite number of points of discontinuity. This is what we were going to prove. Now for proving this, we were going to use a theorem of continuous function is integrable. I'll try to explain the idea by using one sketch. Okay, and later we will write the proof, textbook proof of this. Function is having finite points of discontinuity. Okay, so for this is the function say I have. How many points of discontinuity has? 2?
2 point.
2 points of discontinuity, right? Here is the point say. Here is one point say a discontinuous point. And somewhere here, let me consider this is also a point of discontinuity. And till this I will join the curve. Only 2 points of discontinuity we have. What the job we will do, actually to show the function is integrable, means our aim is to show this UPF minus LPF less than by epsilon. Correct now?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, while making the partition of this interval, we will try to make the partition in such a way, that whatever the points of discontinuities will get overlapped in one of the subintervals. That is, this will be the partitions. Okay. If we have 2 points of discontinuities, how many points I have to mark to enclose those points of discontinuities in the subintervals? 4 points I have to mark, no? 2 पॉइंट आहे डिस्कंटिन्युटीचे माझ्याकडे. ते दोन्ही पॉइंटला एक एक सब इंटरवल मध्ये मला घ्यायचे. तर किती पॉइंट्स मला मार्क करावे लागतील पार्टिशन मध्ये? 4 ना? 1 2 3 आणि 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, if suppose I have 3 points of discontinuity, how many points I have to mark in the interval? In the partition?
2p.
Yes,
2p.
2p points I have to mark. And due to this 2p points or due to these 4 points, how many sub-intervals will get constructed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
due to
Yes,
this
ma'am.
4 points enclosing the points of discontinuity, 5 subintervals gets constructed. Therefore, how many subintervals will get constructed here in general? 2p plus 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this will be our partition to select. Is it okay? This is no doubt it's not, and let this be some x5. Now look at these two intervals. In these two intervals, the function is discontinuous. What about the nature of the function in the rest 3 intervals? In this interval, and in this interval. What is the nature of my function? What is the nature of a function in the first subinterval a to x1? Continuous or not?
Yes, ma'am.
What for x2 to x3? Continuous again.
Continuous.
x4 to x5? Continuous again. Correct? Okay. Now what we will try to do? We will try to make the two parts of the same partition. First part we will take the 3 intervals, say a to x1, x2 to x3, and x4 to x5, say, on which the function is continuous, and the remaining 2, x1, x2, x3, x4, on which the function is discontinuous. 2 parts we have made. Okay. Now as the function is continuous on these 3 intervals, may I say condition of integrability is true? UPF minus LPF will be less than by epsilon on these 3 intervals, correct? On these 3 intervals,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have to check what will be the contribution. Now, while selecting the points x1, x2, x3, x4, enclosing the points of discontinuity, we will select the points such that the sum of length of subintervals is less than epsilon upon 2 times m minus m. Why epsilon by 2? I will write. Here I will write the contribution by these 3 subintervals less than epsilon by 2, and the contribution by these 2 we have to adjust less than by epsilon by 2. Contribution to the difference of UPF minus LPF less than epsilon by 2 in these 3, and over these 2 we have to adjust less than by epsilon by 2. So for epsilon by 2 we have marked. Okay. So what we were doing, while selecting these points x1, x2, x3, x4, we will select in such a way that sum of length of these subintervals is less than sum of length of the subinterval is less than by this. Then what is the contribution to UPF minus LPF? This is actually summation capital Mi minus small mi delta xi. Okay, on this region we are discussing. Okay, may I say capital Mi minus small mi is always capital Mi minus small mi is always less equal by or less by capital M minus small m.
Yes.
Okay, these are the suprema infima on ith subinterval. These are the suprema infima over the whole interval. Therefore, what remains with us? Let me take this out. Less than summation m minus m into summation delta xi. But what the summation we have adjusted? Sum of the length of these subinterval on which the function is not continuous. We have adjusted this to be yes epsilon upon 2 times m minus m. Okay, understood why m minus 1 m here, m minus m here. Now m minus m gets cancelled. What remains with us? Epsilon by 2. Okay. Try to get me what I am trying to say. This is the theme I am explaining. Still I have not written the proof. The whole proof written in the textbook is in the wording format. लक्षात येत आहे का बघा मी काय म्हणते, हे जे 3 इंटरवल्स आहेत ज्यावर फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस आहे त्या 3 इंटरवल्स वर कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन टू द डिफरन्स वी कॅन ऍडजस्ट लेस दॅन बाय इप्सिलॉन बाय 2, कारण कंटिन्यूअस आहे म्हणजे इंटिग्रेबल आहे फंक्शन या 3 इंटरवल्स वर. राहिला प्रश्न या दोघांचा. आता या दोघांना सिलेक्ट करताना x1, x2, x3, x4 असे प्लॉट करायचे की त्याचा सम ऑफ लेंथ जो आहे ना तो याच्यापेक्षा लहान आला पाहिजे, लेस दॅन इप्सिलॉन अपॉन 2 टाइम्स एम मायनस एम आला पाहिजे. मग यूपीएफ मायनस एलपीएफ काय येईल, लेस दॅन इप्सिलॉन बाय 2 येईल या कॅल्क्युलेशन नुसार. मग दोन्हीची मी जर ऍडिशन केली तर काय येईल, टुगेदर द कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन टू द डिफरन्स यूपीएफ मायनस एलपीएफ विल बी लेस दॅन इप्सिलॉन. कळतंय का?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके. इप्सिलॉन बाय 2 काय झाला, दोन्ही म्हणून इप्सिलॉन. ओके, लक्षात येते का? आता आपण
Yes,
प्रूफ
ma'am.
लिहिताना काय लिहिणार आहोत, इन जनरल कन्सिडरिंग p पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिस्कंटिन्युटी 2p पॉइंट्स plotted 2p plus sub intervals we have. Okay, shall I write the proof then if it is understood? Let me write the
Yes,
proof.
ma'am.
Let capital M and small m be bounds of a function f on which interval a to b. Next, let epsilon greater than 0 be given number, comma, there be p points of discontinuity. We were assuming there are p points of discontinuity of f on closed interval AB. Okay. Now we will consider the partition. What kind of partition should be considered? Now we consider a partition E of closed interval AB such that for all the p points of discontinuity gets covered. P points of discontinuity get enclosed in p non-overlapping subintervals. P non-overlapping subintervals, comma, the sum of whose length is less than epsilon upon 2 times capital M minus small a. Correct now? As of we have drawn this point, 4 points to enclose the 2 points of discontinuity. Similarly, to enclose the p points of discontinuity, we will also mark the subintervals. And sum of length of all such subintervals we will adjust less than epsilon upon 2 times m minus. Length आपण adjust करू शकतो ना, किती जवळ पॉइंट्स काढायचे आपण आपल्या हातात आहे ना हे. However close we can draw so that this length can be adjusted less than upon this term. Next, the oscillation. What is the meaning of oscillation? Difference between suprema and infima, right? No? Fluctuations. Good. Oscillations of air in each of these subintervals. Subintervals is, may I say, less than capital M minus M. That is what we wanted to say. Capital Mi minus a small mi is less than by capital M minus M. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, 2 points I have written. Let me go to the third point. The third point I am writing is the total contribution to the difference UPF minus LPF is, yes, what will be the total contribution to the difference? Is equal to, I will write, is I will write, is equal to, what I have to write? These steps I have to write. Summation capital Mi minus small mi delta xi, which is less than by m minus m summation delta xi, And summation delta xi, how we have adjusted? Epsilon upon 2 times m minus m. What is the number to this statement? Let me call this as say 1. This is by 1. Okay. So what is the total contribution? Epsilon by 2. Let me call it as number 2. Contribution on which intervals we have calculated? In which we have the points of discontinuity. Now on the remaining intervals the function is continuous. The function f is continuous in the remaining subintervals. Correct, no? जेवढे पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिसकंटिन्युटी होते ते आपण काय केलंय एनक्लोज केलेत या पार्टिशन मध्ये इंटरवल्स मध्ये. आता उरलेल्या इंटरवल्स वरती काय असणार आहेत? शुअरली कंटिन्युअस इन द रिमेनिंग सब इंटरवल्स ऑफ क्लोज्ड इंटरवल AB. Okay, that is in the p+1 सब इंटरवल्स. करेक्ट ना? टोटल सब इंटरवल्स किती होते आपल्याकडे?
p+1.
2p+1 होते ना. 2p पॉइंट्स जर मी टाकले तर 2p+1 सब इंटरवल्स, त्यातले p सब इंटरवल्स वर फंक्शन, त्यातल्या p सब इंटरवल वर फंक्शन डिसकंटिन्युअस होता. आता किती उरले माझ्याकडे? p+1 सब इंटरवल्स राहिले ज्यावर फंक्शन काय आहे माझा? कंटिन्युअस आहे. करेक्ट?
Yes, ma'am.
Here I am writing in the p+1 subintervals of closed interval AB, excluding the subintervals considered above. Okay. Now what we have on these p plus subintervals? In these p plus subintervals, the function is integrable. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Because continuous is integrable. Reason, every continuous function is integrable. Okay. Therefore, what we will adjust? We will adjust the contribution to the difference. Contribution to the difference UPF minus LPF from each of the subintervals. एका सबइंटरवल मधून किती कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन मिळणार आहे बघायचं आपल्याला. From each of the subintervals can be made total contribution less than epsilon by 2. मग एकाचं काय? Epsilon upon 2 times p plus 1. Contribution to the difference UPF minus 1 from each subinterval I'm saying. And how many such subintervals we have? P plus 1 we have. Okay. Therefore, what will be the total contribution? So that the total contribution to UPF minus LPF by these p plus 1 subintervals. आता combine करू. By these p plus 1 subintervals. How can I combine? Yes, what will be the total contribution? एका इंटरवलचं कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन एवढं आहे. p plus 1 सब इंटरवलचं कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन किती होईल? मल्टिप्लाइड बाय p plus 1, no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, may I write the total contribution by these p plus 1 subintervals will be epsilon upon 2p plus 1 into p plus 1, which is equal to epsilon by 2, and let me call it as statement number 3. Yes, 3. Now, let us combine 2 and 3. From 2, 3 we have. Now, what is the total contribution for any partition? Thus, for the partition P of closed intervals AB. What is the total contribution on this partition? QPF minus LPF is less than 1. First, the intervals on which the function is continuous, we have added by, we have made the contribution less than epsilon by 2. On the remaining subintervals, the contribution is less than by epsilon by 2. From this 2, what is the total contribution? Is it okay? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
वर दिलेलं एक्सप्लेनेशन समजलं असेल तर मग खालचं डेरिवेशन समजेल. Okay, so what this theorem tells us, that if the function has finite points of discontinuity, then also it is integrable. आणि काय लॉजिक वापरलं आपण इथे? डिस्कंटिन्युटी पॉइंट्स घ्यायचे, फायनाइट आहेत म्हणून त्याला क्लोज करणारे इंटरवल्स टाकायचे. इंटरवल लेंथ छोटी घ्यायची, लेस दॅन इप्सिलॉन अपॉन 2 टाइम्स m - 1 एवढी घ्यायची आणि डेरिवेशन दिलेलं आपण. ओके, समजते का बघा? Now the question arises, what happens if the function has infinite points of discontinuity? The next theorem says that if the function has infinite points of discontinuity, but if the set of points of discontinuity is having finite limit points, still the function is integrable. How nice it is, na? Let me write the statement. A bounded function here is integrable on closed interval AB if the set of points of discontinuity has only finite number of limit points. Okay, now the proof goes very similar to the proof of previous theorem. How? Let us check. First you tell me, what about the set of points of discontinuity, finite or infinite? Then we will proceed. If it is finite, what is the meaning? It overlaps with the previous theorem and hence it is integrable, no? Therefore, as we were saying, it has limit points. Then can you tell me the nature of set of points of discontinuity, finite or infinite? किती points of discontinuity असतील? Yes, limit point exist आहे. याचा अर्थ काय? सेट कसा आहे? इन्फायनाइट सेट आहे का फायनाइट सेट आहे?
Bounded.
नाही, प्रश्न काय विचारला? त्या सेटला लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत, तर तो सेट कसा असेल? फायनाइट सेट असेल का इन्फायनाइट सेट असेल?
Infinite.
Yes, it is infinite set. का? Yes, Monday, why? Finite का नसेल?
कारण फायनाइट ह्याला लिमिट नसते ना, फायनाइट सेटला.
Very good, very good.
इनफायनाइट सेटला लिमिट.
हा, फायनाइट सेटला लिमिट पॉइंट नसतात. डेफिनेशन काय सांगते लिमिट पॉइंटची? डेफिनेशन काय आहे लिमिट पॉइंटची? आपला दोन डेफिनेशन बघितलं आपण. हा,
Infinite numbers interval मध्ये पाहिजे.
नेबरहुड मध्ये, त्या पॉइंटच्या नेबरहुड मध्ये इन्फायनाइट पॉइंट्स
इनफायनाइट नंबर ऑफ पॉइंट्स.
सेट, हा असं पाहिजे लिमिट पॉइंट्स. ओके, therefore here the set of points of discontinuity is surely an infinite set. What is given? That this set has finite limit points, finite number of limit points. Okay, so let me just show you. Suppose this is my set I'm writing and drawing. Suppose this is my set of discontinuity. सगळेच इंटरवल आहे बरे आणि याचे लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत, फायनाइट आहेत. समजा याचे लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत कुठेतरी इथेच मार्क करते मी 2-4 लिमिट पॉइंट्स. समजा 1, 2 आणि 3 हे लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत या सेटचे. सेट एस म्हणते मी, सेट एस ऑफ पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिसकंटिन्युटी. 3 त्याचे लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत. ओके, now what the job I will do, I will try to enclose again these limit points in the subintervals. Okay, now according to the definition of limit points, how many points of discontinuity will be there in this neighborhood? किती असतील समजा x1 x2 आणि x3 हे 3 दुसरा नोटेशन घेते मी. से L1 L2 आणि L3 हे 3 लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत माझा सेट ऑफ पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिसकंटिन्युटी. हा काय आहे? सेट ऑफ पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिसकंटिन्युटी आहे. बरोबर. तर आता प्रत्येक या इंटरवल मध्ये किती पॉइंट्स येतील सेट एस चे नेबरहूड मध्ये?
Infinite number of points.
Very good. This neighborhood contains infinite points of discontinuity. Correct, na? Similarly, this neighborhood also
Yes,
contains infinite set, and this neighborhood also contains
Yes.
infinite. Now, if I enclose infinite number of points in the neighborhood of each of the limit point L1, L2, L3, how many points are remaining outside?
Infinite number of points.
नाही, कन्फ्युजन होते तुमचं. मी काय म्हणलं, त्या 3 नेबरहूड मध्ये इन्फायनाइट पॉइंट्स घेतलेत मी सेटचे. सेट इन्फायनाइट आहे, इन्फायनाइट सेट नो डाऊट. इन्फायनाइट सेट मधले इन्फायनाइट पॉइंट्स ऑलरेडी मी 3 सब इंटरवल्स मध्ये घेतले. माझ्याकडे किती उरले पाहिजे?
Finite number of points.
येस, गुड. इट इज फायनाइट पॉइंट्स. म्हणजे किती उरलेत माझ्याकडे? फायनाइट पॉइंट्स उरलेत. बरोबर आहे. अगेन व्हॉट द प्रिव्हियस थेरम टेल्स अस? फंक्शन having finite points of discontinuity is also integrable. Correct ना? आता इथे मी 3 लिमिट पॉइंट्स घेतले होते. ओके, किती लिमिट पॉइंट घेतले होते मी? 3 लिमिट पॉइंट्स घेतले होते. मला किती पॉइंट्स मार्क करावे लागले? 6 पॉइंट्स मार्क करावे लागले. किती इंटरवल्स कन्स्ट्रक्ट झाले? 7 इंटरवल्स कन्स्ट्रक्ट झाले. ओके, आता 7 मधल्या 3 इंटरवल्स वर 3 इंटरवल आणि इकडे 4 राहिले. समजा 4 राहतात ना. आता उरलेले 4 इंटरवल मध्ये फंक्शन काय आहे? 1 2 3 आणि 4. या 4 इंटरवल मध्ये काय असणार आहे? फंक्शन टेक्स फायनाइट पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिसकंटिन्युटी. पुन्हा 2 रिजन करतोय आपण. आणि याच्याकडे किती असणार आहे? इनफायनाइट पॉइंट्स ऑफ discontinuity. Okay, now what the previous theorem tells us? On these 4 intervals, may I say the function is integrable? Correct, no? And we can adjust the difference to the contribution to the difference UPF minus LPF less than epsilon by 2 on these intervals. What remains to show on these intervals? Again, the same criteria we will use. We will try to select these points. Okay, see, say I will write x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 and x6. We will try to select the length of these subintervals to be, yes, less than epsilon upon 2 times m minus m. मागच्या थेरम मध्ये केलं तसंच करायचं सेम आपल्याला. ओके, लेंथ, सम ऑफ द लेंथ्स we can adjust to be epsilon upon 2 times m plus n. Then what is the total contribution made by these intervals? This is equal to summation capital Mi minus small mi delta x. Same आहे, फक्त कॉन्सेप्ट वेगळा आहे. आणि हा सम किती ऍडजस्ट केला आपण? इप्सिलॉन अपॉन 2 times m minus m. Therefore it gives us the total contribution made by these infinite points of discontinuity. That is on these 3 intervals is less than epsilon by 2. And if I combine both, what will be the total contribution? UPF minus LPF less than epsilon. मगाशीच्या थेरम सारखंच आहे ना, सेम. इथे आपण काय केलं होतं, दोन रिजन कसे टाकले होते, दोन पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिस्कंटिन्युटी घेऊन दोन इंटरवलवर कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन टू द डिफरन्स UPF मायनस LPF लेस दॅन एप्सिलॉन बाय 2 ऍडजस्ट केला होता आणि या उरलेल्या तिघांवर फंक्शन ऑटोमॅटिकली इंटिग्रेबल येतं, बरोबर ना?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, सेम इकडे केलं मी. काय केलं इकडे, 3 लिमिट पॉइंट्स आहेत, मग 3 लिमिट पॉइंट्स कव्हर करण्यासाठी 6 पॉइंट्स टाकले. 6 पॉइंट्स मध्ये 7 इंटरवल झाले. 7 इंटरवल पैकी 4 इंटरवल मध्ये फायनाईट पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिस्कंटिन्युटी आहे, म्हणजे फंक्शन या 4 इंटरवलवर ऑलरेडी इंटिग्रेबल. राहिला या 3 इंटरवलवर ऍडजस्ट करायचं लेस दॅन एप्सिलॉन बाय 2. कसं ऍडजस्ट करणार, सेम प्रिव्हियस. ओके,
Yes, ma'am.
we will write the proof of this theorem in the next lecture. Let me stop here. If you have any idea about if you have any problem about the today's lecture, you can ask me, unmute yourself and ask.
No,
Whether
ma'am.
you are understanding the methodology what I am teaching.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. No difficulties then? Shall I stop? Thank you.